I'm next going to talk about the importance of seven touches. Now, this is a philosophy that I've learned and embraced, throughout my professional career because I realized that, when I first start meeting people, especially when I was just getting started, I was too young and people didn't want me in the room, but I had to prove myself. And the idea of seven touches is really a way of, instead of becoming a contact, it's adding someone to your network, and most importantly, getting yourself into that person's network. So if you think about it, and you're saying, how could I get, connected with someone? You don't just want to have one connection or just one coffee. You want to find ways that you connect with them multiple times, because then they'll start to expect you, and they'll expect you to be at events. They'll expect to see your presence online. They'll expect to see you comment on Twitter or Facebook, whatever. But they won't just expect that the first time. It takes multiple times, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times over a period of time for people to start expecting you to show up. So what I tell people is, if you're trying to really add someone in your network or get to that person, think, how am I going to connect with them 7 times? You could do that as simple as, you want to meet, I'm just going to say, I want to meet so-and-so Ben at company X. And I've never met Ben, but, I'm trying to figure out how to do it. So I look through LinkedIn and I find someone who knows Ben that I know would vouch for me, and I know they would vouch for them. So I ask if they'll connect to me. And they do, and they connect us not only LinkedIn, but on email. First connection. Then I reach out to that person directly and say, hey, I'd love to, buy you coffee or maybe chat with you on the phone. Second connection. The person responds and says, okay, we can do this. You work out the time. They set up a personal meeting. That's your third connection. While you're trying to figure out, when you're going to meet together, you start to do your due diligence. You get to know something about them. Maybe you find an article or a tweet or, something that comes through your Google alerts that would be applicable to what you're hoping to connect with or what their company does. Send them that article. Then all of a sudden you've got that fourth connection. So then when you meet with them in person, they're not just, well, you're so-and-so's friend and we connected, but you've started to develop a little bit of rapport. After you connect with them, whether it's on the phone or whether it's via Skype or in person, send them a handwritten note. I know that sounds super cheesy, and especially if you're younger, you're like, I don't send notes to anybody. But that's the point. Hardly any of us get mail anymore. None of us get thank you cards anymore. We get tons of tweets, we get tons of texts, we get thank yous by email, maybe we get a call, but we never get mail anymore. If you want to differentiate yourself from someone, send them a thank you card. That's saying, I'm taking the time to show you how much your time was valuable to me. Then you find the time, okay, now you've got your 5 connections with them. Find that follow-up again, that other article or something, whether it's about the school or whatever you had in common on a human level or on a professional level. Then 1 to 2 months out, or whether it's a few weeks out, after your initial meeting that you've had with them in person, follow up with them again. That's your 6th connection. And then eventually you'll either run into them again in person, you'll talk to them again on the phone, you'll connect via email. But when you get that 7th touch, now here's 7 touches, which is basically based off getting together once for coffee. So most people think, well, I'll go and I'll have coffee with somebody and then I'll get their info from them and ask them what I can, and then you never talk to them. That's not building a network. That's going and meeting a contact and trying to mine them for everything you can. What you want to do is every single time that you find a connection, someone that can be really valuable, someone that you want to hold in your network, continue to follow up with them. Get your 7 touches, because then they'll remember you and you can remember them. And then over the course of months and years, you can continue to find those articles or reasons to stay in contact. And when you do, that'll keep them thinking about you. And you may be applying for a job, you don't get it, but by continuing to stay in touch with them, maybe that person who got the job leaves after 6 months. Maybe another job opens up. And instead of them posting, they might go, hey, I should go and, talk to that person who, they had a pretty good, head on their shoulders. They seem to be following what's going on in the industry. That's how you're going to do it. As a consultant, it's the same way. Or as a student, you're trying to figure out, how do I get into that role? You want people to remember you, because networking is the key. And if you can get those 7 touches, people will remember you much more than they will if you just have that one-off meeting.